Hello friends, hi, happy Friday. Happy Friday. So a couple things that I want to talk about today. First things first, I remember when I took this cinematography class in high school. It was like it was a very cool moment for me, honestly. I told my guidance counselor, I was like, I'm into film, in some way. Sorry. Maybe it's like on a hill or something, so it's hard to hold it up. I don't know why it won't. Hopefully that'll stay. Anyway, so I tell my guidance counselor, I'm like, yeah, I like film. I want to take a film elective. So she puts me in the cinematography class. And especially at that time, I was very much so, what's a good term for it? Consumed with my looks. There's a word, it's not coming to me right now. Anyway, I saw that Liza, so this girl Liza, she's like a Habesha girl, but she's in LA, and she posted, it was like some reel, I think it's for her new album coming out, and it really looked like film noir. She looked so cool. She looked very pretty, and her hair is completely blonde, and I was just like, oh my god, you look like a movie starlet. And I just want to say this, like, if you see another girl like shining, give her coins, like, give her the praise. I just remember, like, in that class, even if I go back and I watch those videos, like, man, I was great. And I definitely was not surrounded by people who were giving me praise. And I think that's really unfortunate, because I think a really big part of growing in terms of like representation is like giving praise when it's due. So there's that. So shout out to Liza and whatever project that she has coming up. I definitely want to make some content about it. Also, just because I think like one of the reasons we continue to see like ugly black girls occupying space is because I don't know why y'all aren't like supporting the pretty black girls. Like, why doesn't Lillian have more shit? Like, why doesn't she have more sponsors? Why isn't she able to like be a full-time vlogger at this point? I know Sagan is, and that's fucking awesome because Sagan is so pretty. Like, these are people I've definitely talked about on the channel before, but I am going to be here to give Liza her things. If you haven't seen her most recent her video, it's really good. I liked it as well. If you're not familiar with it, highly suggest you go watch it. But I kind of wanted to talk about that in relation to something else. And it's this like larger concept of, I always call it adulting, but today something came up that I thought was like fascinating. So I'm not gonna name exact people, but there's another adult in my life who I talked to today, and I talked to them yesterday too, and they were basically talking about how, like, they weren't feeling all that hot or whatever. And then I messaged them today, and they're all like, yeah, I was in the emergency room or something. And then, long story short, basically last night or yesterday, and it seems like maybe this has been going on for a week, they were having some sort of challenge. Like, I don't understand their health challenges or whatever, but they were having some sort of challenge, and for whatever reason, maybe they don't have a primary care physician or something, so they didn't go. And it ended up being like something where it was like a UTI or some sort of thing, like when your bladder gets infected or something. These are all women hormonal issues, but no matter where you are, this is not, a lot of these things aren't even related to sexual health. Sometimes it just has to do with like the weather. It could be your laundry detergent that you use and your pH gets thrown off, but that shit like escalates into something where you like literally need a doctor to come in and solve it. You might need some medication or something to fix it. Anyway, so instead of just going to see like their primary, they were like, well, I'm swapping insurance, and so that's why I didn't actually go and get it checked out. And I'm thinking, like, what? And I wanted just to explain a couple things. First things first, if you're, this is kind of specifically for girls who are like starting their journey in America, especially starting your journey of adulting. Despite whatever your parents are doing or something, because I gotta say, like, health in the Black community is bad. So whatever your parents were talking about, like, fuck them. You need to go, like, figure some shit out for yourself. So that means like getting your blood work done, you know, getting some basic tests. If you have like high blood pressure and fibroids are like huge things in this community. If you've never seen a nutritionist, highly suggest going to see that. There's a lot of like, another thing I think is really interesting, but nobody seems to talk about it. Like, a lot of Black women are overweight. Like, if I'm not trying to be funny here, but like, you can see me right now. I'm actually technically overweight. And I'm like 5'8". But I'm not like, I have like a bunch of extra fat, and I know where it comes from. Sometimes I just like eat poorly or whatever, but my blood pressure is always like very low. I keep my stress very low, and I eat a pretty like balanced diet or whatever. But some people aren't even where I am. Like, we don't have my problems. Like, I could probably, you know, do a more healthy kick for like a month and like get my shit kind of together. But there are some people who are way further than me. So there's some things I kind of want to explain, especially in states like New York or California, or even I think like Tennessee has something. Well, maybe they don't. They're a little bit different. But wherever you are in the country, if you get a job, and I mean like a really basic job, that job is going to offer you some sort of insurance. Or if you don't have it, go to the social service office, you know, where you can get like food stamps or whatever, and then figure out whatever your state insurance program is, sign up for it and get some basic form of insurance. With that insurance, you know, that it just comes with like your state or whatever, it might like sign you up automatically for a primary care person and go see that person. But like with that like really general insurance, you can have your primary care person refer you to a specialist. So maybe like a nutritionist, maybe an OBGYN. Ironically enough, Planned Parenthood provides quite a lot of like OB type of women's services. Like, I haven't said this before, but I'll say it now. Like, since I've been back in the States, this was something that was really big amongst the girls I was talking to in Germany, but they had copper IUDs. So I actually have a copper IUD now. So preventing pregnancy, let's go, right? Big ups to that. But it's really easy. Like, I really liked my K-cup, but you can't use a K-cup with an IUD. But very simple. The whole procedure took like 30 minutes total. Kind of painful a little bit, but you know, it's great. Okay. And I just wondered, like, to go back to that conversation, this person was under the impression that because their insurance or something hadn't kicked in, or it wasn't where they should not go get services because of a financial barrier. And I want to say that in most states, wherever you are, if there's like a suburb near you and a nicer hospital near you, like the private one, like in Tennessee, it would be Vanderbilt. But in other states, I don't know, wherever it was, but there's going to be some hospital that's kind of like that. You can actually just apply for financial aid and then get your medical bills covered that way if you are, you know, low to medium income. So you should never put off, you know, if you're having some issue, being checked out for the issue because of this idea of like medical coverage or insurance. And I thought that was really strange to like hear this adult say that, and like they literally didn't know. And I'm like, God, what else don't they know? Like, people just don't know how to do basic shit. And especially like, man, if you just call whoever your insurance provider is and you ask for so many things, you probably qualify for some sort of like mental health services, so therapy. You could also get counseling. There's just a number of things, especially like nutritionists. I see all these people who seem to like want to take nutrition advice from like YouTube advisors. Like, you don't know what's going on with your shit. Like, have somebody who does this in a profession like tell you what's going on with your diet. Because like I know for me personally, I was lacking in protein. Like we have gone over the things that I was eating, the things that I am eating, and it became very clear my protein intake was way low. It was like really down. So I have to increase my protein consumption. That was really big for me. Anyway, lots of things happened today. I wanted to make a video about due process. I don't know if I will actually do that. I feel like that's a longer video that I probably should hash out. But the big idea here is that I found this masterclass on Hoopla, which actually goes over, I think it's like the one with Nicole Hannah-Jones. It's got like Angela Davis on there, and some other like, she's not like she's like a civil rights, I think she's a civil rights attorney, but she was basically breaking down like what the 14th Amendment is and how the Civil Rights Clause came into play in the first place. And something I thought was very fascinating today, if you haven't seen it, you should go watch it. Ben Shapiro, I think, did a really good wrap-up of the three Supreme Court cases that were basically voted on today that have to do with the Trump administration specifically, and all of those are related to due process laws and how they're applied. And the way that he breaks this down, it's basically this idea of like district courts and them making rulings, and that those rulings do not apply federally because every state has jurisdiction over what's happening in that state virtually. But those concepts are kind of like abstract if you don't understand. Like when I'm talking, well, I didn't coin this phrase, so I don't even want to pretend like I did. But some people have this idea that hopefully there could be a United States of Africa, in terms of where all of the countries would come together and have some sort of laws that apply across countries, and so that there's some sort of political framework that could be applied globally. That's very difficult, but I do see some steps being taken to make that happen. But I think if you understand, even at a very basic level, how that operates in the United States, like there are state laws, right? And so you might, if you know really conservative people, you might be aware that they move to states like Tennessee or Florida. And you might wonder why, because those are, when people are talking about red states and conservative states, go look at the laws of those states. Like places like, well, I have a friend who lives in Idaho, but it's a very conservative place. Like I think they've banned abortion completely in the States. Like if you're pregnant and they know that you're pregnant and the baby is not born, you could be like prosecuted for like criminally like killing an infant, the fetus or whatever. Every state has its own shit, and I think that's what's going on, especially with like the ICE raids and stuff right now in California, where Trump is trying to really get a hold of like this idea of what are they, sanctuary states, and them having all encompassing kind of freedoms to do everything, including violating federal law, which is when people are coming to the country illegally and they do not have any sort of visa or, you know, permanent status. There is a criminality involved. I think I posted this. It's like a misdemeanor to be in the country without an active visa or overstaying a visa. So anyway, I'm gonna think about how to explain that concept a little bit more, because it's not the easiest to understand. Like there's just like all this context that you have to like know in order for it to like make sense. So I'll try to think about how to explain this more, because those videos have been really eye-opening for me to understand like the Supreme Court and its initial objection to the 14th Amendment and how any of those laws were applied in general, what common civil rights statutes that are currently in place are, and how they affect not just feelings. And I think that this video did a really good job of explaining this. It isn't about the feeling of someone being mean to you and it being this sort of like mean-spirited objection to something. It's literally about legality. So if and I think there's been some really interesting cases. They're not actually called what is it? Reverse racism or something. It's where there have been a lot of white citizens who have had their civil rights violated, and they're explaining it through the 14th Amendment, which I think is like really interesting, because most people think about civil rights laws being violated only in relation to black citizens, and that isn't the case. And I think that these more recent cases are exploring ways that all people could potentially have their civil rights violated, and what that means and the legality around it. But that's a longer video for a whole different day. Anyway, I just wanted to pop in and say that.